Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So, as you probably already know from the title of this video, I am going to be running you through what we spent and made on our renovation project. So for those of you who don't know, myself and my partner Steve bought our very first renovation project. It was a very long-winded process. I've explained everything that happened and went on, what we learnt in a different video, so I'll link that here and down in the description box as well in case you guys want to know the full story. But I did promise this video for you guys, which is basically going through exactly what we spent on the project and what profit we made. So I tracked everything. I'm just sat at my laptop, so I'm going to get everything up so I can literally just go through it with you. I tracked everything we spent on a spreadsheet, literally on just like a Google Doc spreadsheet. We do also have an accountant who obviously set us up with QuickBooks. We have kind of like projects set up in there because we also have a rental property. So he does the kind of money side of things. I will admit I am rubbish when it comes to any of that kind of stuff. Taxes, all of that jazz. So Steve is a lot better than I am, but we have obviously employed someone to help us with that side of things because we are clueless. So yeah, all of our spending obviously goes through QuickBooks and all of that jazz. But for me and how I like to work and how I like to visualize things, I literally just put it into my spreadsheet every time I buy something, pay an invoice, whatever it may be. And I also, on my spreadsheet, when I know there are upcoming costs, for example, plastering, I'll put an estimate of what I think it's going to cost in there, kind of highlight it in orange, and then I know that that's something that I'm expecting to go out, and that kind of helps me stay on track with whether we're on budget or not as well. So, when it comes to cost of work, I can't give you guys a full-on breakdown. I've explained this in my previous video about how our contractor basically refused to give us estimates, which was a massive ball ache, but it is what it is. But I can obviously give you breakdowns for quite a lot of other stuff. So first things first is how much did we spend on the house. So the house itself is a 2-bed end of terrace Victorian cottage. So we bought it at auction for £150,000. We were pretty happy with that price. We were actually willing to pay up to £160,000. So that was our very maximum budget to spend on the actual house itself. So obviously we're pretty pleased that we got it for a little bit less. It means that we can have a little bit more profit. And then obviously on top of that, you have to factor in things like auction fees. Those are just shy of £2,000. Stamp duty, that's another £5,000 on top of that, and also solicitor fees as well. So for buying our property, our specific solicitors who we've used so many times, we spent £1,000, and then the selling side of it was more like £600. Right, we've got a needy dog. Come on then, come on then. Say hello. I know. Right, so let's move on to the whole construction side of things and what we spent. I feel like you guys need to see what the house looked like previously to really kind of take in how much work needed to be done. It was very much a shell. I have done walkthroughs of befores, drawings, after. So all of these videos will be linked down in the description box, so you guys can go check them out if you want to. But for our labour, so labour and materials for most things, which I know is really, really vague, and don't get me wrong, it's annoying. We spent £33,739. On top of that, there were some extra outgoings. So we bought a new boiler. So that labour and materials number I just gave you did include the fitting of the boiler, but we went and bought the boiler ourselves. That was £400. The kitchen units I purchased myself outside of that £33,000. Those were £851 for that L-shaped kitchen with a couple of top units as well. The extractor hood and the hob were £135. I've said this before that in my last video how our contractor basically just cocked up on a lot of stuff, and we had to, I basically asked him if I was buying the right worktops. He said yes. Further down the line, found out they weren't the right size worktops. So that was money down the drain, but the original worktops I purchased were £100. Boys, shush. But then I had to go and buy extra worktops, extra bits that were missing off of the kitchen, and that was an extra £200. Washing machine, £170. Like kitchen handles were like £30. All of this stuff really adds up, so it's definitely worth keeping track of it. The kitchen handles I got from Amazon. The kitchen units I got from Selco. I spoke about that in my last video, and you have to have a trade card to purchase from there. But we are doing this all through a limited company. The original worktops were from IKEA, but the ones that we actually ended up using were also from Selco. And then I believe I got the extractor hood and hob and stuff was from Enquiries and AO.com, I think. I kind of found sale items, so definitely shop around with that as well. The flooring that we used downstairs was all wood flooring, laminate wood flooring from B&Q. It was the Good Home, is it Good Home's like an own brand, I think. Good Home flooring. Anyway, we spent £188 on the flooring. So obviously, like, our labour and materials cost, that included the fitting of the flooring. And sorry I can't give you more broken down numbers. I mean, I really wish I could, because it'd obviously be helpful for us as well. But yeah, go watch my other video if you want to understand why. So yeah, the wood flooring was £188. I would recommend not necessarily going for the cheapest. This was a very cheap one. I got it because I really liked the look of it, but it was awful quality and the laminate was peeling. So I think when it comes to flooring, obviously you don't have to spend the absolute world. You're not going to be living in the property if you're obviously renovating it and selling it on. So don't go buying the most expensive, but don't buy the cheapest either, is what I would say. The bathroom flooring, we actually used LVT tiles, which were actually pretty decent. Those were £82 to floor the whole bathroom. And then carpets and underlay were £335. I actually managed to get a partial refund of £80 for that because of the quality of the carpets, and a lot of the colour was off, things like that. So with the carpets, again, I would definitely recommend not going for the cheapest. I obviously got a couple of samples, thought it looked good, I like the colour, but it was really awful and thin and just didn't look good. It didn't stretch very well. The guy who was laying the carpet said it was very close to ripping and he couldn't sort of smooth it out anymore. But what we have personally done in our own house is we went for a kind of like not super thick plush carpet, but what we did is upgrade on the underlay. And I would definitely recommend doing that if you're trying to save some pennies. But that is what we did here. We went for a nice underlay and a cheap carpet, but I think the carpet that we went for was definitely too cheap. So that's something that we're going to learn for the future and not be so stingy. And then furnishing wise, we actually bought the sofa, like the table, the dining chairs. This is something I said before as well. I would definitely recommend furnishing it. We had a lot of good feedback about that, and I think it gives people more of an idea of it being a home rather than an empty shell, especially when everything's painted white. And yeah, so like I said, the sofa, the dining table, chairs, they were all actually from eBay, new from eBay, but from eBay. Those were £537. If you guys do want more information of how we furnished it, the links and stuff, then that is in one of the videos. Side tables from B&M, £25. We got a couple of IKEA bits, that was 77 quid. Fridge, 180. Got a couple of bits from Dunelm, like just small purchases here and there, but it's stuff that I still keep track of. And then we also had to have extra work done to the plastering and the roofing. So the extra work we had done to the roofing was £1,440, and that was to fix all of the LED flashing. It wasn't sat right, and then also just to fix a bit of the walls. I can't even remember now, guys, to be honest. And yeah, remove the chimney pots as well, because we found out the chimney pots weren't even attached to the house. And then plastering, we actually had to fork out to have some of the plastering redone because the guy who did it originally didn't prep it properly. So that was an extra £80. We did actually manage to get that money refunded from our contractor because obviously it was due to the work that they had done. So overall cost of work, including all of that, came to £38,515. So one thing I would say is set yourself a budget for the work that you want to do, but also set yourself a quite generous contingency as well. So for the work, we wanted to spend between £30,000 to £35,000, and that's what we budgeted for, but we did have a contingency on top of that. So obviously the work that we had done came to about £38,500. That is more than we wanted to spend, but it was still within our contingency, so it wasn't the end of the world. We still knew that we would make a profit on it. One thing that I haven't touched on yet is you have to factor in certain bills as well. Things like council tax, bear in mind you're going to have to cover that. Home insurance, you have to insure the place, and just things like other little bills, all of that kind of jazz. And then estate agent fees as well. Obviously, if you're going to flip it, sell it, you're going to need to hire an estate agent. I've spoken about this in my other video as well about the hiccup we had with choosing our estate agents. So we originally went with Purple Bricks. We paid £1,300 for their services, which were literally just not even up to scratch at all. But it was on the market with them for months and months and months. They didn't manage to sell it. We put it on with a different estate agent. They managed to sell it within 2 weeks. So we ended up paying double estate agents fees, which is obviously really not ideal. And that is one thing that we'll definitely learn for next time. So the estate agents that we sold it with eventually were called Hunters, and we paid them a flat rate fee of £2,400, but obviously we didn't pay that until after the property was sold. Oh my gosh, so much talking. I don't know if Hunters is just a Bristol thing. I think they're a franchise, so I'm not sure if they have them in different cities. But we had a really good experience with them. So, I mean, they got it sold at the end of the day, so that's all that matters. And, right, what have I not spoken about yet? So, total of all of that so far has taken us to £202,000. So that's all of the works, fittings, finishings, estate agents, solicitors, any other fees you may encounter, cost of the property. That's where we're sitting at. So we obviously had a number in our mind what we wanted to sell it for. That number was £230,000. We originally put it on the market for 235. It was sat with Purple Bricks at that. We did a price reduction with Purple Bricks, and it was just such a waste of time. I feel like if we'd originally put it on with Hunters, that we maybe would have achieved that price, because for the area, it was a really good location. It was a decent size 2-bed for that kind of area. Obviously, it was nice and modern inside. We think that number would have been achievable, and actually when we got estate agents in, we got 3 different estate agents in. One of them actually said 250, and we said no, that is ridiculous. You kind of have to do your own research. I would definitely get 3 different estate agents in and just see what they say. It's good to obviously get a few different opinions, but yeah, we kind of went with the middle number. We put it on at 235, knowing that we'd be comfortable with 230 if we were to sell it for that. So we put it on for 235 with Purple Bricks, went through a price reduction. We then put it on with Hunters at 230, and they actually managed to sell it within 2 weeks at that price. However, come survey time, we've had some stuff flagged up in the survey. We had a lot of issues with our contractor. We weren't surprised that stuff came up because there were things that we weren't happy with that he didn't bother doing, blah blah blah. But anyway, the buyers wanted quite a drastic price reduction, which obviously we were just not going to agree to, because we thought it was quite a borderline rude price reduction. We managed to renegotiate it to £5,000 for a number of reasons. At this point, this whole process had gone on for so long that we just wanted it gone. So having said all of that, that takes our profit to £22,990. So the amount of profit that we were hoping for was more like 30 plus. And I feel like we were on track to get that, but because we had all these kind of curveballs that, oh yeah, and obviously it's our first project, we're very much learning. We are very, very grateful to have made a profit at all, and don't get me wrong, £22,000 is a lot of money. I'm not going to sniff at that. It is a lot of money. We're more disappointed at how long it took than how much money we made. We were hoping this would take 4 to 6 months. It's taken like 18 months, which we honestly never foresaw that. And obviously I've said before, the curveballs that we had were our shitty contractor, shitty purple bricks, and then shitty COVID. So that definitely had an impact, a huge impact on our timeline. And I felt like it was kind of a knock-on effect that also had a bit of an effect on the profit that we made. But like I said, that is a lot of money. I'm not going to sniff at that whatsoever. We are really, really happy, but we're the kind of people who kind of beat ourselves up for kind of, I put a lot of pressure on myself to do well, and I felt like we could have reached the 30 to 40k profit, and we kind of fell short a little bit. But I don't want this to come across like I'm ungrateful whatsoever. A profit is a profit at the end of the day, so we are very, very thankful for that. But this does not take into account obviously certain things. So I said that I wanted to be as open as possible about this, and the reason I'm doing this video is because when I was looking to get my first, like our first renovation project, I just didn't feel like there was a lot of videos out there that spoke about the money side of things. It spoke about that. So I hope this doesn't come across like I want to gloat or anything like that. It's purely meant to just be factual. If anyone is thinking about doing a similar kind of project, then I want to kind of share what we've learned, what we would do differently, and then hopefully you guys could potentially take that on board as well if you are doing a project. But yeah, another thing that I want to be super, super open about is where our money came from. And I mean, like, obviously we've saved money ourselves, but not that much, and we were gonna either get a bridging loan, that is a very good option, or you can just get a mortgage. With mortgages it is very difficult with some auction properties because of the condition that they're in. A lot of mortgage companies won't lend you the money, so we did actually look into bridging loans. However, we spoke to members of our family, and they basically, we would rather the interest get paid to our family than to the bank. That was the discussion that we had. And so we have been loaned the money from family members, and we are honestly so fortunate to be in that position, and I'm beyond grateful because it's because of that it made it so possible for us. Like I said, we would have done it. We would have done it anyway if we'd have just gotten a bridging loan and we knew that was an option, and we knew we would get approved because we fully went down that line of, you know, talking to them, seeing what our options were. But yeah, it kind of came up in conversation, and we kind of said, look, if we can pay you the interest to our families, would that not be a better solution? It's going to get them more money than they're making just having it sat in the bank or whatever. So that is how we funded the project, and I wanted to just be completely 100% open and honest about that. Yeah, we have a loan repayment to make to our family, so obviously you need to take that into account with any kind of lender. You are going to have interest on that. And then obviously on top of that, tax, you need to bear in mind tax. So although 23 grand was our profit, that then does get chipped away, and I won't go into details about that. And obviously with tax, it's not simple. We can't just say, oh, we're going to pay this much tax on this project, because we have rental property. We obviously have other in and outgoings out of our company that is set up. That's why we have the accountant, because he is obviously the expert in that area. So yeah, it's not as simple as me being like, we're paying this much tax on this project, because that's just not how it works. But that is the general gist of it. I hope that video has been helpful for you guys. Like I said, any questions, fire away. I'm happy to do other kind of spin-off videos, if you want auction tips. We obviously went to a lot of auctions. If you want to know more about the kind of projects that we were looking at, why we were looking at them, I'm more than happy to do more videos on it. But I hope it has been helpful. If you have enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up because it really supports my channel. And if you haven't already subscribed, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn your notifications on so you never miss an upcoming video. And until next time, I will see you guys later.